Well, I know why you're smiling, because it's the end of the year.
Yeah, it is. We're only a few days away from this year finishing, and it's been a really good year. It's been a great year. Some great wins, some super exciting stuff coming up, and lots of lessons as well,
Yeah.
which has been great. And one thing I know that of late that we've been talking about on the podcast and just amongst ourselves, especially in light of the summit coming up next year, is just this year's been, for a lot of guys we've heard, one of survival.
Yeah.
And been hearing that a lot. And when we've mentioned that, it seems to resonate with many. And so I know we've done a lot of extra then work in terms of researching why. And I was listening to a podcast that Andrea shared with me just this morning on the way here, just the importance of reevaluating and understanding, because any challenge or problem or setback or whatever is only a lesson if you it's a good thing, and it can be a lesson if you decide it to be. Otherwise, you're just going to be surviving forever, and that's not what you want. So that's forced us to, not just listening to the podcast this morning, but prior to that, forcing us to understand this survival thing. What is going on here? Why is it the case? And how can we, uninspired builders, get people on here to talk about that, or how do we improve things? How do we better things? How do we learn from it? And there's been some interesting stuff that's come out of that so far.
Yeah. Yeah, and I know I've spoken to a few guys this last week or 2 weeks, and yeah, it's definitely like survival. Even though it was a good year, like things still kept moving. I think a lot of guys probably communicated that they say, well, it was like they felt like they were reactive this year, not proactive. It was just on the back foot the whole time, and a big goal for them is just to be like more proactive next year, rather than this, like in the survival / reactive state.
Yeah. And that's interesting enough you mentioned that, because that was the podcast this morning I was listening to, and we've discussed that this year and last year, that in order to be proactive, you got to start planning for next year now. Actually had a builder come on board yesterday. We're going to be helping him next year, and I onboarded him yesterday, and he was talking about he always at the start of December starts planning out his next year.
Yeah, that's
and
good.
then reevaluates it just after Christmas before coming back.
Yeah.
And going, is that accurate, or was I writing that with a end of year mindset, with a just crunch time mindset?
Yeah.
Which is a really good way to go about it.
Yeah. Yeah, and just again, like just talking to some of these builders the last week or so, when I see them, there's like two sides that I see. One is like, oh man, pretty excited for the holidays. They're telling me what they're going to do. Some guys are going away, some are just staying around, just spend some time with the family and so on. But then in the same conversation, they just go, man, I just feel burnt out. Like this year was a big year. But then, it just got me thinking, because I'm like, no, you're probably burnt out. Sounds about right. But then, it got me thinking. I'm like, well, is it actually burnout, or is it boredom?
And that's what us chatting and talking to more guys and sort of probing them. That's something I feel like we've become more aware of, or it's come to the surface that for a lot of guys, it might look like survival, because it's this, there are some, let's say, symptoms that look similar, like just stagnant, not going anywhere. And if I would say in that idea of boredom is the same problem there is you don't have a big enough goal to go after. And for a lot of the guys that we come across, that are running building companies, they need a goal. They need something to sink their teeth into. And if you don't have that, you're going to struggle to get out of bed. You're going to struggle to be proactive, like we're talking, really engage and solve problems and move forward. If you don't have that, you don't have a drive for that, just because you don't have a goal in place at the moment, or something to really push for you, or a big mountain to climb, you are going to just be dealing with the same problems every day, and it's going to feel very reactive.
Well, that brings me, I guess, you're saying that, a lot of builders, they feel like they don't have a goal, or maybe that desire or that hunger. But I think, I've really thought about this. Like a lot of these builders, the reason why they feel that way is they feel like, they're still struggling with the exact same problems like they have been over the last 3 years, your rain delays, your, clients coming to you with plans from architects or whatever, and, the plans just don't match the budget reality, just the same thing, same problems, right?
Yeah. And that can look like fatigue and look like the tank's empty, but it's really just, there's challenges gone. They don't have that drive. They just, I mean, you use the term, or we joke about it. His dad's favorite movie is Groundhog Day. You know, it can feel a bit like Groundhog Day. And yeah, I just think I think a lot of guys out there would understand that and resonate with that. And we definitely, a topic that I've discussed with many builders is sometimes you need to go out there and find bigger problems.
Yeah. So a lot of builders think they've got to go like on a holiday. What does that, I guess, do?
So yeah, the holiday. You gave it a name earlier. I'll let you. If
I can't remember now.
Oh, okay. So the holidays are definitely necessary, but some guys I think of a holiday as this is going to solve my problems.
Yeah, like the silver bullet.
The silver bullet, and I'm going to come back refreshed with new ideas, and maybe that happens, but I feel like that does take intention. You have to intentionally sit down and give time to that, not just have a holiday. Because holidays, provided that you get good sleep and you do take time off and turn your phone off and don't answer emails, yeah, that's a really good time to reset and try and be more present with the family. And you can do a lot of things there. You can get back into some good sleeping habits. Let's say you're taking 2 weeks off. So that's really good.
But yeah, it doesn't fix the business boredom.
No, because you're going to come back and still have the same problems.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it might give you, new inspiration. I know for me, like on a holiday, I always get like new inspiration. It does help me to disconnect a little bit and go and zoom out a little bit again. So think of the big picture.
That is true.
Look at the forest.
That is true.
Not from the trees. But again, this has happened a few times with a few builders this year, right? Like they went on a holiday like in August, September.
Yeah, November even. I've spoken to guys who did November holidays.
Yeah, they were just done. They're like, nah, I just need a holiday.
Yeah.
They go on a holiday, come back. We speak to them like literally the day of when they're back.
Yeah.
And they sound like the same person.
Yeah.
Probably worse now because now a lot of these things have added up.
Compounded.
Yeah, compounded.
Yeah.
So
I think for a lot of guys out there, they don't necessarily need a holiday or, they don't need a nap. They need a new mountain.
Yeah. They can still go on holiday.
Definitely.
But your holiday's not going to fix it. You need a new mountain. What does that mean?
New mountain, I would say you need a big goal to go after. You need give yourself a big challenge. I think
something to get excited about.
Yeah, totally. Because once you've got that, then a bigger goal is going to come with bigger problems. So the problems that you're currently facing are now going to seem so small, and it's going to be like, just get it sorted, get it done, move on.
That's true.
I was talking to a guy yesterday, a very unique builder that I catch up with every now and again, and he is not. I mean, I was talking about this stuff with him, and it just didn't stick. Didn't resonate with him. This whole idea of a survival year, because it's just not been
for him.
Yeah. For him, he's got some pretty big, hairy, audacious goals, and so any problem that comes up in his mind is just, I don't know, just deal with it, move on,
fix the problem.
Yeah. And he was telling me about he was on a yacht recently with some other people in business. Lawyers and other builders and all sorts of business owners, and this one of the other builders talking about this challenge that he had with the client. The client was complaining about this, and he just like, mate, we're not going to fix that, and this guy was like, mate, I would just get it done and move on.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, what's going to cost you a couple grand? Like, move on. You're talking about a project that's worth several mil.
Yeah.
And this other builder's like, nope, it's principle. And he's like,
it's not worth your mental
it is
space.
not worth that. No.
That's true though. Like, it's probably a good test you could do for yourself. Like, you might have been in business for 5 years now. You've got some problems now. Think back to the problems, if you can remember, even like of the first year. If you look at those problems from this point of view, you'll think, oh my goodness, those problems are like nothing. But then at the time when you were in dealing with that problem, it would have been like everything. So it's pretty funny how we evolve.
Yeah.
But that means like, it just proves the point, what you just said before, you need a new mountain, because if you're just sticking to the same plateau, like if you're running on a plateau, like,
that's a great analogy. If you're running on a plateau, there's nothing there to climb.
Mm-hmm.
You're stuck on flat ground. But I think what a lot of guys are not maybe aware of is that we often talk about this idea of who you surround yourself with. And so when you take that into these guys' everyday lives, that maybe they're a bit of boredom, maybe it is true survival. But if we look at the boredom side of things, going back to that, these guys every day on site, they have problems coming to them from, I don't say beneath them. That's not the right word, because these guys are on site. They're chief. They're the top of the pyramid. So any problems, if the people that they've put in place to solve them are not solving them, or let's say not actually taking responsibility and getting things done, it gets brought to them.
Yeah, so all the fires come
All
to
the
them.
little fires can sometimes come up from beneath, and they're trying to put those out. And then their attention is constantly looking down at the weeds, at the trenches, solving problems, putting out fires, and that's going back to that reactive.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing is, like, if you are that person, like you are the smartest person, kind of like, let's say, in the room, even if like whether it's on site or whatever, you're the smartest person there. And what that means is like your growth stops, right? And this brings me to the quote that Jim Rohn we always quote this guy. He says, you're the average of the 5 people that you surround yourself with.
Yeah.
And I honestly like believe in that one. And I have to catch myself sometimes with that.
Yeah. It's very, very important. And I think for a lot of guys that unknowingly the feedback loop is aimed down. So it's your feedback and information is coming from these little silly problems and challenges right in front of you, and you're dealing with it. And then, but you're stuck there.
Yeah.
As opposed to, do you need to go and find a different room, a different space, a different environment, a different group to be around? And imagine if that feedback loop, like let's say you got this conveyor belt looking downwards at these problems and trenches, and then imagine if you aim that upwards at someone who's dealing with bigger problems, kind of where you want to go when you have time to think about it, the situation that you actually want to be in, and the stuff you want to do. Maybe it's your own developments, maybe it's just taking more time off. Or imagine if that conveyor belt was then aimed upwards and you were getting feedback from guys doing that. I just think that's can have a pretty big impact.
Yeah. And I mean, I know we always use analogies, but I like it because it makes things like you can just understand it better. It'll just make more sense. So say your goal is like climb Mount Everest, and then you get to base camp. So now you're in base camp. In base camp, you've got problems, right? You've got certain problems. But then you move on to like the next base or stage, I don't know what you call it, and then the next one, right? If you're at that next stage or a few stages beyond base camp, you can't even be thinking about the problems back in base camp anymore because it's not even going to be relevant, right? You've got new problems here, things like oxygen. Base camp, you probably don't have the oxygen problem as much. Now, the closer you get to the summit, now you've got new problems. But the thing is, if you keep on like day to day deal with the problems back in base camp, you're not going to get to that next stage.
I'm glad you mentioned that. It made me think of a documentary that I think a lot of guys who watch this would have seen, the 14 Peaks documentary. And that's a real case study there where, I forget the guy's name, but he's going to climb, I think it's not Everest, I think it's K2. And he gets to base camp. And everyone at base camp is just super pessimistic. There's been some pretty bad storms, and they're looking at the weather, and everyone there's like, you just can't, this season, we just can't summit K2. Just can't be done. And this guy's, I forget his name now, but he's coming and going, no, this season, I'm doing all 14 peaks. So I'm going up there. And he got pushed back by guys who've been sitting at that base camp for, I think, a couple of weeks waiting to get a crack at summit. And they were telling him, you're crazy. You're going to kill yourself. You're going to kill you guys. But in his mind, he had he wasn't climbing just K2 that season. He was climbing 14 peaks that season. His problems are so much bigger than this guy trying to summit one mountain. Plus, he had surrounded himself with guys who had the exact same goal. Him and his 4 guys in his team, I think, 4 or 5 guys in his team, they're all going after 14 peaks for the whole season. We're not going to be looking at the most ideal conditions. No, we just need to get up there and summit this thing to move on. And you see that he pushes. And because he's willing to push, there's like 3 or 4 people from base camp that join him and they summit it.
Wow.
And they make it.
That's huge.
And it just highlighted that thing that you mentioned there in terms of who you surround yourself with. You need bigger challenges.
So the question I want to ask you is, what does this mean for the builders that are listening to this right now? It's the end of 2025. Maybe it's start of 2026 when you're listening to this. Just depend on when you listen and watch the podcast. And you feel like, you've been a bit of a reactive year. You're dealing with problems, the same problems. You don't really have that mountain. Like, what do you suggest for builders in that position right now?
Maybe to elaborate before I jump onto that is, I think for some people, maybe they're not even aware of it. But when you think back about, were you hoping you would be a little bit further by the end of this year than where you are? I think
or are you excited about next year?
Yeah. Do you have a game plan in place? Do you have a strategy to follow? Because or a plan? You know, that simple concept of plan. Was it plan?
Plan to win.
No, but that idea, like either you plan, you need a plan in place to follow.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have a plan in place, then you pretty much just planning to fail.
Well, and another question is, if you do have a plan, are you excited about that plan?
Yeah. Does it
get you
out
up?
of bed?
Does
Yeah.
it get you? Are you hungry? You're like, man, I've got to smash this thing.
Mm.
I know, like for some guys I talk to, that's the case. They're like, they are certain. They're like, man, let's do this thing. And for those guys, they go, it's still important for me to surround myself with a good crew of people that I can bounce these ideas to, and also keep me on track, right? Because I know as I'm executing this plan, things are not going to work out the way I've planned.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to need a support crew there. So those are for the guys that do have a solid plan in place. But yeah, what do you say for the guys that don't have a solid plan in place, or they might not be excited about that plan for next year, or they feel burnt out at the moment, or
well, a few things, but maybe a shameless plug would be the summit that we've got happening next year.
What summit? The Everest Summit?
The Everest, the KT Summit. No, this is the Inspired Builder Summit. So,
wow, something just hit me.
What?
The
that it's
Inspired
called Summit.
Builders Summit.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't think
We
of
have to
that.
change the logo.
Yeah, put
So
a mountain in there.
So it's a logo because that's a summit.
Yeah.
Anyway, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I think because the whole what we've designed and I keep using the word designed and curated because that's, I feel like, what we've gone and done for this summit. We've built it based on 7+ years of feedback.
Yeah.
And it's great as we've been putting it together and we've been talking to people who we've done stuff with in the past or have attended things or we've taken to events before, and we get their feedback. And it's been really good to hear when I mentioned this, we've got the summit coming up, we're planning the summit, you know, and they want to get their tickets. Then they go, well, this is something I really liked about this past experience, or this is something that I wasn't a fan of. And it's been really good to hear because one, we take it on board, but two, it's been right on par with what we've gone and created. So everything they've gone, I really love this, that's in.
Yeah.
I didn't like this, great. That's been stripped already.
Yeah.
So that's something I'm really excited about. But yeah, the summit is all about, the Inspired Builder Summit is all about getting like-minded builders in a room together.
Yeah.
Because
Build your crew, build the 5 people that, you know, can help you on this journey. We have some like awesome builders already on the list that have secured their seats. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
And what I like about it is it's a range. And I find, like, ever since I've been in, you know, business, I've always looked at other industries for inspiration, because, or even like different, so people that are doing things differently to what we're doing, and then using that as inspiration. So it could be like big companies like Amazon, for example, with some of their principles, or it might just be someone in a complete different industry, and go, how can I model that and use that in my business to be different? And I feel it's the same way with builders. So that's why I think it's important for these builders to, you know, come together with different style businesses, not just 50 architectural builders or, you know, 50 design and construct or 50 reno builders.
Yeah.
It's getting amongst builders that are doing things maybe in a different way. Yeah. So we've got, like, you know, we've got our like heritage reno specialists coming. We've got passive house, high performance, healthy homes, that kind of niche. You've got guys that are coming in that are just specializing in like second story additions. You've got a granny flat builder that's like systemized his business there.
Yeah. Builder developers.
Builder developers.
Projects.
Yeah.
Yep.
Got some guys that do, you know, big commercial projects. This is aimed more at resi, but, you know, those guys, they do a bit of residential and residential development. So again, it's there to not just learn from people that are exactly like you, it's to learn from people that are not like you, and vice versa.
Yeah. And I think one as well is people's background is very, very important. So you might have someone who's maybe new in business. Let's say they've been running their business for 2, 3, 5 years, and they're doing residential, you know, their turnover is not, you know, 10 mil yet, but they have an extensive experience from where they've come from. Maybe they've come from a bit of volume, maybe they've come from super high-end commercial, Maybe they've come from really high-end architectural stuff, and they bring that. So that's, I think, a really important thing, and that's something that's become very, very apparent to me, and just affirmed us in our belief in that we believe everyone is unique and has their own story, and so every builder is unique, and that plays a big part in it. Is how did you get to where you are today? Doesn't totally dictate where you're going to go. That's based on choice and action and persistence. But I feel like everyone is going to be able to bring some pretty unique things to the room based on their experience so far. Yeah,
and I think a big goal for us is I want everyone to walk away there just hungry again, excited, like let's do this thing.
Yeah.
And that's worth the investment to like take yourself out of the business for a couple of days. And we intentionally designed it in a way so that the main days are on Thursday and a Friday, and we've got the welcome dinner on the Wednesday night, so that you're coming to the Gold Coast to get inspired, learn from other builders, and like spend the weekend here. Do it, like reflecting and so on, or if you want to bring your family, like spend some time with them on Saturday and Sunday. But yeah, it's really about, that's what I'm most excited about, is to get guys out of this whole feeling of, man, this is like Groundhog Day. I'm just dealing with the same problems I've been dealing with the last 3 years. There's no excitement. Why am I doing this project? Why am I doing this business? I want them to go, I'm excited. I'm excited to help people. I'm excited because honestly, like builders, you help people so much.
Huge.
You help families in ways you don't even understand. So for me, it's like, I keep saying the same thing, but anyway, I want builders to come in here, walk out hungry, walk out inspired, walk out with a summit in their mind, a goal in their mind to achieve.
I think for sure. And I think one thing, if I could add to it, would be walking out with really good relationships and new friendships.
100%.
That's something that I get really excited about. We've seen it so many times, the amazing friendships that form. But we've also seen what, of the relationships that have really blossomed and guys have really leaned on one another over years to come after an event. There were certain things in place at the event or immediately after that really enabled that. And so we've taken that on board as well to curate and design into this so that the guys that come can have those relationships. Because if you have a big K2, it's not going to be an easy road. Again, you're going to have bigger goals, mean bigger problems. And so it's going to be so important that you have guys to lean on to keep you accountable and to tell you that, it's tough, but that's means you're on the right track.
Yeah. A few years ago, when was this? When we went to America? This is well and truly before 2020. We invited a whole lot of our clients. And we invited these two builders and didn't think they would both come or want to come or either of them. Anyway, cut a long story short, because we were going to 10X, Grant Cardone's 10X in Miami. And we invited both these builders. And then they both said yes. So like on the way to the airport, I was still remembering this because I had this thing in my mind that like, they might see each other as like competitors and why, you know what I mean?
I had tension throughout the whole trip then.
Yeah, I had this like false belief in my mind. And then anyway, I still remember us introducing them to each other at the airport in Brisbane.
I remember that.
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
And now they're like best friends.
Yeah. But the other thing as well is, and it just goes to show, and this is the kind of caliber of people we want to have in this room.
Yeah.
And this is who we're seeing coming as well, which is really exciting, is that those guys, prior to you introducing them at the airport, they'd already made a connection. They'd already had like an hour-long chat the day prior on the phone.
I didn't even know that. Yeah.
And they were already decided they're going to be friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now, like, cut a long story short, I mean, how many years has gone by now? 8 years or whatever. Yeah. I know for a fact they talk most days. They go, man, I've got this problem and this. And they are not competitors at all. They play in completely different spaces, but they are there to like lean on each other. And yeah, I agree 100% with you. Like another goal for us is like for builders to walk out there with new connections, people they can call on and just ask for advice or just to do this whole thing together. You can't do this thing alone. It is tough, man. It's like climbing Mount Everest alone.
So people who want more information about this, Corne,
they just got to find a link somewhere. There are links everywhere. If there's
but the event is going to be on 26 and 27 February. There is going to be a dinner for some on the 25th, evening of the 25th as well, prior to the event. So it's a Wednesday evening, Thursday, Friday event. So you can bring your families and stay the weekend.
Yeah.
He's going to be on the Gold Coast at Kira. The event's going to be held at the Kira Beach House. and it's going to be epic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for the chat.
Thank you, Corne.